I love the fact that you're taking urban fantasy and making it comedic and fun and light, because too many times don't get me wrong, I love Briggs, I love Hearn, like I love urban fantasy, otherwise I'm gonna be writing in it, and I don't write comedic urban fantasy, so shame on me. I think it's cool though to take something like that and to make it comedic, because that's just, I haven't seen that very often. So I think that's just like a really cool thing that you're doing, which is probably why it appealed to me so much
Well,
once you like, sent me the book and stuff,
well,
the
thank
title
you.
and stuff. So
I
yeah,
mean,
I
I
think that's
think
a really good idea.
most of it isn't comedic, that's fine. I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, I also think just more dramatic urban fantasy is great too. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, that's what I like to do. I like to try to do things a little differently than people are used to seeing, maybe.
Well, it's like sci-fi, right? Like Spaceballs. Like I love sci-fi like Star Wars, but I also freaking love Spaceballs. And I'm sorry, but I can't wait for Spaceball, Spaceballs
Oh,
2,
that's right. If you're
the
doing
more,
it.
yeah. I was raised on all of those comedians, so I for the original, so I'm just like so excited about that. My dad and I were just talking about that. Blazing Saddles was like always playing at my house. Yeah, so I think it's really cool, but it's like it's interesting, and I think I just point this out to people. I'm like, you don't have to do something like super crazy, right? Like here you have urban fantasy. You're like, oh, here's my skills. I'm gonna make it comedic, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Like I'm not comedic, so that's probably why I didn't. But I'm like, that's a good idea. So I just like to point out to people like Spaceballs, I think, was a really great idea at that time, particularly in the 80s, right? Because there was so much serious sci-fi going on. Yeah, it was corny, it was cheesy, but still it was like, more serious, like a lot of fantasy today. So I think it's just a really, really good idea. So yeah, I'm really excited to read it. I know I've talked to some other people too. So yeah,
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
that's a really good move. Yeah,
I'm
for sure.
excited for people to read it.
Well, yeah, it was just funny because, like, like I have people ask me all the time, right? Like, oh, I want something like this, but I want that. So I like cannot wait for the next person that's like, yeah, I want some monsters and mystery and some comedy, and be like, I have just the book for you. So
Elena,
uh,
Ned.
yeah. No, I got you. Yeah, so it's really cool there. So in terms of um how you decide the supernatural cases, like how did you do that? Like, did you go with like a monster first, or did you go with, oh, they need to find this? Like, how did you decide kind of like what each story was going to entail in terms of the case they're solving?
So, yeah. So going in, my like philosophy was, or I don't know, lens or whatever for this particular one, besides the comedy. Um, I want to come up with the weirdest things you can think of for cases for private detectives. Because as you mentioned, most urban fantasy is not comedic. Or even if you think of detective movies or noir or whatever, generally it's more serious stuff, right? Like maybe it's a murder thing, right? Or they're solving something fairly serious. So my thing was like, okay, I'm going to do the complete opposite of that. I'm going to have them solve very non-serious cases that you would never expect private detectives to have to tackle. Although in reality, from what I've heard, real private detectives actually generally have to do rather mundane things, to be honest with
Yeah, yeah, people don't know that. Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So, but these aren't mundane. These are just goofy. So that's why I said, for example, the werecat comes to them saying, "Oh my God, my favorite cat food disappeared," um, or there's someone who comes and says, "Oh, there's this Monster Mash dance competition. Someone's trying to rig it and ruin it." Um, or there's someone had their anime collect like Hello Kitty type collectible stolen, right? So all these kind of very silly things. So that was like the mindset going in, that each case was going to be something silly like that, or not that you would not expect.
yeah,
Um, but then one kind of built off the other. So because I'm like some people call this like a pantser. I call it discovery writing, but it's
yeah.
like in other words, I don't go in having everything plotted out. I used to do that, but I don't do it anymore. I'm more like I kind of discover it as I go along. So so I didn't know really as I was writing one case what the next case was going to be. But what I did for a lot of the cases is a character they meet in the first case, that character then becomes the one who comes to them with the next case.
Oh, that's cool. I
And
like
then in
that.
the second one, they meet a third person, right? And then that person comes to them again. So I kind of did it that way where a new person they meet would then become their new client. And that kind of helped me then propel it each case. And then I took like, so for example, if I introduced the werecat, I was like, oh, well, what would a werecat need their help with? What kind of weird thing, right? Or what kind of
Yeah.
weird thing would a witch need their help with? Or a leprechaun or whatever it is. These are all people
Yeah.
who come to them for cases. So that's kind of what kind of spurred me along. I'm just thinking like, okay, here's a new character I introduced. What zany problem do they have? That only Elena and Ned can help with, of course.